6 seconds left in his speech after question period. Now we'll go to statements by members. Déclaration de député. The honourable member for Spadina Harbourfront.
Mr. Speaker, today is Giving Tuesday, a global day of generosity and community, an opportunity to reflect on local needs, support important causes, and give through donations or volunteering. Volunteering is how we learn about ourselves and the world. It is woven into who we are as Canadians, people who care. According to the World Giving Index, Canada ranks 11th for generosity, yet Volunteer Canada and Statistics Canada report a decades-long decline in volunteer hours and participation. This matters because organizations like United Way, Greater Toronto, the Neighbourhood Group, Scotting Court Community Centre, and Crossroads International rely on volunteers to deliver essential support to our most vulnerable. Volunteering strengthens belonging, reduces social isolation, builds lifelong skills, and weaves together a stronger community fabric. It reminds us that we coexist and we thrive together. Even a few hours can make a real difference for the volunteers and the organizations that receive their support. On this Giving Tuesday and throughout the holiday season, I encourage Canadians to give what they can and, even more importantly, to give their time when possible. Thank you.
The honourable member for Caribou Prince George.
5 years ago in December 2020, this House came together to support my motion to bring a simple, life-saving idea to Canada, a 3-digit suicide prevention crisis line, 988. 1,000 days later, 988 launched in November of 2023. Since that time, over 1 million calls and texts have been made to 988. Every one of those calls or texts represents someone reaching out instead of giving up. But sadly, 12 Canadians die by suicide each and every day. A further 200 attempt suicide each and every day. That's 73,000 Canadians, colleagues. 988 must be the beginning, not the end. As we enter the Christmas season, we must remember that many Canadians suffer silently and fall through the gaps. If you're struggling, please reach out. Help is only a call or text away, regardless of where you are. You can dial or text 24/7 988. And remember, you're needed, you're loved, and our world is a better place with you in it.
Hear, hear! Bravo! The honourable member for Winnipeg South Centre.
Mr. Speaker, this past month I had the chance to visit 3 schools in my riding where students are bringing about positive change in the world. At École Robert H. Smith, students raised thousands of dollars for Cancer Care Manitoba by organizing drink sales that saw them working early hours on top of their regularly scheduled academic responsibilities. They put the needs of others ahead of their own. Over at Earl Grey School, Mr. Speaker, nearly 50 students, guided by educator Lily Goodness-Goodman, formed a media literacy club and a student school newspaper. Their commitment to citizenship can be held up as a model for all to follow. I experienced firsthand, Mr. Speaker, the challenge of being in the lion's den of their media scrums. And at Linden Meadows School, Mr. Speaker, under the leadership of teachers Colleen Nelson and Alex McGavin, students are dedicating time regularly to debating ideas. They're staying engaged with the world around them, and they're doing it in a respectful way. Mr. Speaker, I am so proud to represent these bright young people that are paving the way for a future full of kindness, compassion, and hope. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Barrie Springwater, Oro-Medonte.
Mr. Speaker, Christmas is right around the corner, and in Barrie Springwater, Oro-Medonte, the festivities are already in full swing. Santa Claus parades, Christmas markets, and most importantly, the spirit of giving is alive. Year-round in my community, charities do outstanding work to help the residents of our community, especially during the holiday season. Our local charities such as the Barrie Food Bank, the Elmvale District Food Bank, Christmas Cheer, Senior Wish, the Salvation Army, and Barrie Families Night all work tirelessly to help support families, put food on the table, and gifts under the tree. As we enter this giving season, I encourage all those who are able to donate to a local food bank or shelter. And to those who need help during these challenging times, please know that these organizations and your community will be there to help support you. Thank you to the employees, volunteers, and donors who help support the vital work of these charities. From my family to yours, I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and to the students who are here from Barrie today, Joyeux Noël.
The Honourable Member for Quebec Centre. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like today to acknowledge all those who made possible the new permanent exhibition Grandir chez les Ursulines, or Growing Up with the Ursulines, at the Ursulines Monastery Cultural Centre in my beautiful riding of Quebec City Centre. It's the result of more than 4 years of work, and this exhibition pays tribute to nearly 400 years of educational and social commitment by the Ursuline Sisters. Women who have had a profound impact on the social, cultural, and intellectual development of the Greater Quebec City area and our entire country. Through 6 themed rooms and more than 580 objects and archives, including the founding document signed by King Louis XIII, the Grandir chez les Ursulines exhibition invites visitors to discover how these visionary women contributed to the advancement of women's status in Quebec. I invite all members of this House and all those watching today to visit this exhibition and experience the exceptional legacy of the Ursulines of Quebec.
The Honourable Member for Airdrie Cochrane.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the amazing contributions of the Canadian Filipino community from coast to coast to coast.
Hear, hear.
Filipino culture is one that values faith, family, community, hard work, and loyalty. From Vancouver to Whitehorse to St. John's, Filipino families have contributed greatly through their hard work and community involvement. Rarely will you find a church or a community group without Punsit, Tagalog, and friendly smiles. I myself am honored to be married to a Canadian Filipina, and I've had the privilege of meeting with Filipino leaders all across our great country. And today I want to recognize in particular one of those community leaders, Carlos Cabaneros, who is here on Parliament Hill today. And Carlos is the creative genius behind Filipinos in the Six,
awesome.
The largest online North American Filipino page promoting Filipino culture and values. So join me in recognizing the amazing contributions of Filipinos all over Canada, and let us celebrate our shared values of family, freedom, community, and hard work. Maraming salamat po. Tara na!
The Honourable Member for Kanata.
Mr. Speaker, through the Canada Summer Jobs Program, young people in my community are gaining valuable work experience, developing new skills, and earning an income while contributing to our community. Last summer, our government committed more than $1.3 million to youth in my community. This funding helped create over 320 amazing student jobs. These opportunities are helping young people grow through hands-on work with organizations like the David Smith Treatment Centre, the YMCA, STEM Camp, the Diefenbunker, and the Canada Food Cupboard. These opportunities not only build confidence and skills, but also strengthen the community organizations that serve residents every day. Applications for the 2026 season are now open until December 11th. I encourage organizations and small businesses to take part and give a young person a chance to learn and to contribute. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Sudbury East, Manitoulin-Nickelbelt.
Mr. Speaker, after 10 years of fiscal mismanagement by the Liberals, the affordability of daily life is out of reach for many Ontarians. According to Feed Ontario's 2025 Hunger Report, more than 1 million Ontarians needed a food bank this year, marking a record-breaking 8.7 million visits to food banks in 2025. 1,300 people regularly visit the local food bank in Chelmsford per month. This need is being largely driven by poor decisions by this Liberal government that drives up inflation and the cost of daily necessities for all Canadians. Today is Giving Tuesday, and I will be making a personal donation of food and other items to the Fill the Crib initiative in Greater Sudbury. As a record number of Canadians struggle, I encourage others across the country to do the same if they are able.
The Honourable Member for Joliette-Manawan. Mr. Speaker, Jean-Claude Germain passed away earlier this year, leaving behind a cacophony of words, stories, and laughter that still echo in our ears. 2 weeks ago, a warm and colourful tribute was paid to him at the Centre du Théâtre Aujourd'hui. Playwright, screenwriter, writer, journalist, lyricist, historian, and so much more. With Germain, labels jostled for position like actors in the wings. Larger than life, he had a gift for capturing all of Quebec in a well-turned phrase. From Le Petit Journal to the honorary presidency of the Montreal Salon du Livre, he stirred up Quebec theatre until it spoke in joual and walked on its own 2 feet. I knew him at L'Autre Journal. Working alongside him was like taking a class where the prof laughed louder than anyone else in the class. His entire body of work is a mirror that reflects our wrinkles and our smiles back at us, and we say to ourselves, yes, that's us, and we can be damn proud of it. Salut, Jean-Claude. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to highlight an exceptional young athlete from Hubbard's, 13-year-old Asher Davis. Asher has been selected to represent Canada at the inaugural Pan American Optimist Championships in Buenos Aires next month. Out of 15 youth across the country, he is the only sailor chosen from Atlantic Canada, an incredible achievement and a proud moment for our community. A proud member of the Hubbard Sailing Club, he has been training tirelessly to meet this moment. His family and neighbors have rallied against him, showing once again how our communities lift up their young people and help them reach big opportunities and experiences. I ask all members to join in congratulating Asher today and wishing him the very best next month as he represents Team Canada and the South Shore on the world stage. Congratulations, Asher. We're all cheering you on.
The Honourable Member for Algonquin, Renfrew, Pembroke.
Mr. Speaker, the talented scientists, engineers, and technicians in Chalk River perform leading-edge nuclear research while also producing life-saving medical isotopes. Now this elbows-down Brookfield government wants to pay an all-American consortium $1.2 billion a year to manage Canadian nuclear laboratories. We know the Prime Minister has a financial interest in the consortium. Canadians have concerns about the American-owned monopoly having control over Canada's medical isotopes and unique nuclear analytic capabilities. The Competition Bureau has launched 3 investigations, yet the Bureau has been forced to obtain court orders to get the information that they need from this secretive, self-serving Brookfield government. Canadians want the Liberals to stop blocking the investigation into the deal. Canadian intellectual property and the jobs that technology brings will be lost if the Brookfield Prime Minister gets his way.
Here he is. Well said. That's a
The Honourable Member for Sackville, Bedford, Preston.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize an extraordinary achievement by Synergy, a local barbershop quartet in Nova Scotia. Earlier this month in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Synergy Quartet was crowned the 2025 Queens of Harmony at the International Harmony Competition, representing Eastern Canada on the world stage and competing against top quartets from across North America. This is the first time since 1993 that a quartet from Area 1, which includes 9 chapters across the 4 Atlantic provinces, has earned this title, and only the 3rd time in the region's history. The quartet includes Sue Kember and Jennifer Cleveland of HRM's Scotiaires Chorus, alongside Adele Merritt and Karina Garriok of Valley Voices. Their victory reflects the musical excellence that exists in our province and the strength of our women-led arts communities. It also speaks to the value of supporting Canada's homegrown arts sector so that talent like this can continue to succeed. Congratulations to Synergy Quartet and everyone involved on bringing home this well-deserved international honor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for York, Durham.
Promises and reality, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister's promise was a so-called generational investment to rapidly scale up housing to meet his target of 500,000 homes a year. The reality is that the budget watchdog said this morning that the new bureaucracy will actually only build 5,200 homes per year. That means that the Liberals are over 1 million homes short over the next 5 years and will only address 4% of Canada's housing gap. And the future isn't any brighter. Yesterday, the Missing Middle Initiative reported that housing starts are down across nearly every GTA municipality. But Conservatives haven't given up on the Canadian dream, the dream to earn, save, and own a home. And that's why Conservatives will incentivize municipalities to cut building taxes, spend less, and keep interest rates down so mortgages can be affordable, and scrap the industrial carbon tax on the steel, the lumber, and every single thing that builds a Canadian home.
The Honourable Member for Pontiac-Kitigan-Zibi. Mr. Speaker, today, to mark the week of remembrance and action against violence against women, I would like to congratulate and to show my full support to an essential organization in my riding, Mr. Speaker, Entourelle. Thank you to Giselle, Ashley, Christy, Alicia, Casey, Chantal, and all the stakeholders who accompany and support you in this essential work. You make a real difference in our riding with your courage, your determination, your professionalism. You bring hope to all women and victims of violence and intimate partner violence. So today, we honor you and your work, and we support you in everything you do. We stand alongside you. Thank you very much.
The honourable member for Portage-Lisgar.
This Prime Minister is riddled with conflicts of interest, and companies like Brookfield are raking it in while he is at the helm. Right. Not only did the Prime Minister help his company avoid paying $6.5 billion in taxes, but they're now also Canada's greatest tax dodger. A bike shop in Bermuda? No problem. A couple of tax havens in the Cayman Islands? You got it. Anything to keep Brookfield outside the reach of the CRA. Ordinary Canadians are struggling to put food on their plates and a roof over their heads, while the Prime Minister's elite friends just keep benefiting. And his so-called ethics screen, it's mostly a joke. The Ethics Committee found that 95% of Brookfield's companies, nearly 1,900 of them, aren't included. If they perform well, the Prime Minister is going to reap the reward, so no wonder that he wants to help them. Instead of avoiding questions as he helped Brookfield avoid taxes, the Prime Minister needs to come clean. Is he here to serve Canadians or Brookfield and himself? Conservatives will not stop asking questions. We'll expose this sleaziness and fight to make sure that it stops.
Hear, hear. The honourable member for Fredericton-Oromocto.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to congratulate Constantine Paceras, a constituent of Fredericton-Oromocto who was recently awarded the 2025 Canada Volunteer Awards Atlantic Prize for his outstanding contributions to building a welcoming and inclusive New Brunswick. For more than 50 years, Constantine has dedicated thousands of volunteer hours, connecting people from diverse backgrounds and championing collaboration. En tant que fondateur du
As founder of the New Brunswick Multicultural Council, his expertise played a role in shaping multicultural policies throughout the Atlantic region.
National leader, a role model for New Brunswick's multicultural community, and his unwavering commitment to diversity and inclusion continues to enrich our province. So please join me in congratulating Dr. Constantine Paceras and thanking him for championing multiculturalism in New Brunswick. Merci.
Oral questions, questions orales, the honourable leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's bad enough that this Prime Minister has appointed a minister from the Trudeau years who ruined our immigration system and increased the cost of living. But this same minister this morning, the one responsible for heritage, says that he's had it. Says that he has had it with the decline of the French language. We're not fed up with it. We want to defend the French language. All those Liberal members, well, are they tired of someone who wants to defend French language and culture? The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, the government has immigration under control. May I continue? Asylum seekers, the numbers have fallen by 1/3, and we will defend the French language with the greatest investments ever in the cultural sector. Mr. Speaker, the question had to do with the statement by his new minister who said he had had it. He was fed up with the debate on the decline of the French language. The Prime Minister's answer shows that we should all be worried about the decline of the French language. Why is it that among all Liberal members of Parliament, he has chosen to appoint someone who's fed up with defending the French language and Quebec culture? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I am for my new minister. I am against the leader of the official opposition, who is against our action plan for the French language, $4 billion. He's against the investments in the Quebec cultural sector. He is against the increase in Francophone immigrants to Canada. We defend the French language.
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, we learned today that 8 months after the Prime Minister was elected, promising to build nation-building projects at speeds not seen in generations, he hasn't even begun consulting with First Nations people about his promised pipeline to the Pacific. And now the Assembly of First Nations has condemned his plan because he hasn't done any consulting with them. Today he will address the Assembly. Will he for once say one thing to no matter who the group he's speaking to, be clear that he wants the pipeline to get built and that he'll get the consultations done to make it happen?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the great thing about Hansard is you can consult it and find out what the member opposite said last week. In effect, would we ram through a pipeline? No, never. No, never. We will consult free, prior informed consent with First Nations. We will work with the province of British Columbia. We have conditions in the MOU with Alberta. We know how to work with the provinces. We know how to consult. We know how to respect. Does the member opposite?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, transcripts are great things, and he just renamed Justin Trudeau's immigration minister to cabinet, the guy who destroyed our immigration system and helped double the housing costs in this country. And that minister has now had something to say about this Prime Minister's failure to consult on pipelines. He said the consultation should have started yesterday, and it can't be done on a desktop, making reference to his fellow ministers' promise that they would do consultations by Zoom. So why is it that he didn't start 8 months ago consulting First Nations? Is it because he doesn't care what they have to say, or because he just doesn't want the pipeline to get built?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I recognize this situation is very, very complicated for the member opposite. That's right. First off, you have to have a pipeline project. You have to have a private proponent. In order for that to happen, we had to create the conditions precedent. We have now done that because we talked to the provinces. We worked with the provinces. Mr. Speaker, in the Building Canada Act, which was passed before the member opposite returned to this House, we set out the consultation process for nation-building projects.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
So he's broken his promise to get big projects built, and now we learn that he has broken his promise to get houses built. He promised during the election he would double home building to 500,000 units per year. Today, the Parliamentary Budget Officer revealed that his brand new bureaucracy will only build 5,000 homes per year. 99% less than he promised, Mr. Speaker, after Conservatives built well over 200,000 homes at half the cost today. Why won't he listen to us and stop building bureaucracy so that we can start building homes?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the great thing about being a lifelong member of Parliament is you've never built anything and you don't know numbers.
True.
And you don't. Units, 130,000 a unit. That is what we're doing, Mr. Speaker.
Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the only thing that member built when he was the Governor of the Bank of England was the housing crisis in that country. And then he built a tax haven in the Caribbean so he wouldn't have to pay the same taxes he imposes on the Canadian people. Our youth need homes, jobs, and hope. This Prime Minister only offers them broken promises and more sacrifices. He even held a photo op in front of a house that was dismantled after he left it. So here we have a Prime Minister whose houses disappear after he announces them and promises disappear after he makes them.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the House in that announcement was sent to Nunavut. Nunavut is one of the territories of this great country. Nunavut is more than just a place where you fly in. make a photo op, don't speak to the Premier of Nunavut. Nunavut is where we are building 700 houses under Build Canada Homes. Houses that are cheaper, houses that are more efficient, houses that work.
L'honorable député de Belleuil.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, last Thursday, the Prime Minister announced an agreement with Alberta, which is a problem in many ways. I asked the government if it would commit irrevocably to not do anything in British Columbia without the express consent of British Columbia and First Nations. The answer was yes. But yet the announcement was made. Now, what is it? No, please be careful with the language you use. This is not outside the rules, but it might provoke a certain reaction, and one reaction can lead to another, and the two reactions can provoke disorder. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We respect provincial rights and jurisdiction. We respect British Columbia. It is absolutely clear in the Memorandum of Understanding that we and the province of Alberta will work together with British Columbia. We need an agreement for a pipeline. The Honourable Member. Now, when you want the agreement of one party to an agreement, you invite them right away because the agreement the Prime Minister signed will apply even without British Columbia. So will the Prime Minister recognize that he has not respected what he said in the House, that he didn't show great respect for the truth when he signed this agreement? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this was not a contract. This was a Memorandum of Understanding. And this has to do with conditions that are sufficient, but they are necessary. It is not the end of a process. It is the beginning of a process with Alberta, with British Columbia, and above all, a process with Indigenous peoples. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. It's a piece of paper that he signed and which creates obligations. It is a contract. He can call it whatever he likes, in whatever language he likes. Given what is at stake with the moratorium on tankers, given issues with greenhouse gases, given the absence of an agreement with First Nations who voted against this agreement this morning, does the Prime Minister not think he should make sure that all parties should be able to sign this free, prior, and informed consent? The Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this is a Memorandum of Understanding with commitments, with great investments that Alberta will make in carbon capture. The industrial carbon tax, 6 times greater. And also we are tightening rules in other areas.
The Honourable,
he's leaving.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, you can't build homes if you run out of the House.
That's right.
And that's what the Prime Minister is doing right now.
and his colleagues, I know that there's no singing in the House. So anyway, the honourable leader has the floor now.
Mr. Speaker, it's very sad the Prime Minister does not want to debate how we get homes for our youth. Our young people deserve homes, jobs, and hope. He was feeling very cocky a few minutes ago until he worried that I might present him with the facts. That the Parliamentary Budget Officer revealed today that his new housing bureaucracy will build only 5,000 homes per year, which is barely 1% of the 500,000 homes that he promised during the election. Construction is falling off the cliff. Why won't the Prime Minister stand in this House and debate it?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, for the record, the Prime Minister is doing his job, and now he's off to speak with the Assembly of First Nations, doing the job of the Prime Minister of Canada, not standing in this House doing quippy quips for Twitter.
I mention if someone's in the House.
We don't know when that now is, really, right? Because it's not necessarily talking about the present, but it's at some point now is a large concept. So the honourable leader of the opposition.
Now the Prime Minister could be debating. He's got plenty of time.
I thought the honourable member was done. He wasn't done. Sorry, apologize.
As I was saying, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is doing his job and off to give an address and consult with the Assembly of First Nations, not doing quippy quips for Twitter with the Leader of the Opposition, which I know he would very much like to do, as he likes to obstruct, obfuscate, and as he's shown earlier in question period, not have a single handle on a single fact about a single indicator about life in this country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Let's speak about indicators then. I'm going to quote the Parliamentary Budget Officer. Build Canada Homes, the Prime Minister's program, is presented as part of the government's efforts to double the pace of housing construction over the next decade. That said, the government has not yet laid out an overall plan to achieve this goal. We anticipate that the contribution of Build Canada Homes will likely be modest, and estimate that the program will add about 26,000 units over 5 years, representing 2.1% increase in housing completions, not the 100% increase the Prime Minister promised. Was this just another bait and switch?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, if the member opposite took the time to actually read the report, he would discover that the Parliamentary Budget Officer stated this will build 86,000 homes, affordable homes across Canada. This is the initial investment. I know it's hard for the Conservatives to understand. We're going in phases here. The initial phase is $13 billion, which they voted against in the budget. They're doing nothing to build homes, which matches the opposition leader's record in the past of 6 homes. So,
the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
That minister was literally the mayor of the city that became the most expensive housing market in all of North America. More expensive than New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and now he brags that not only will they only build about 2% of the homes that they promised during the election, but they're spending $13 billion to do it, Mr. Speaker. Failing is bad. Failing expensively is even worse. So rather than having the costly mayor stand up and answer for him, will the Prime Minister have the courage to answer for himself? Where are the homes he promised?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, I'm so proud of the City of Thunder Bay, who just passed through their council.
The Minister may begin from the top.
Mr. Speaker, all across the country, municipalities are stepping up to make new housing available for some of the most vulnerable people in our community. Take the City of Thunder Bay, who just last night, through their council, approved a motion to free up surplus city land for 1,400 homes, facilitated by the Housing Accelerator Fund, Mr. Speaker. That's the work of a government who's behind communities, who's behind people. And here's what we can say about the Conservatives. They vote against the very people that need that help. Mr. Speaker, we're building Canada strong with municipalities like the Municipality Marathon who's here today.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member for pointing out that we have voted against every single program that doubled housing costs in Canada. This Prime Minister created the biggest housing crisis in the G7 when he was the Bank of England governor. And now he's come here to adopt the same Trudeau-era policies of building bureaucracies rather than building homes. He promised this was all going to change, that the latest bureaucracy would change everything. But today, the parliamentary budget officer proved that he'll only build 2% of what he promised. Why does this Prime Minister block homes and break promises?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's rich for the Leader of the Opposition to speak about this. As we all know, when he was Housing Minister and I was the Mayor of Vancouver, he built 6 homes as a Housing Minister. It's a deplorable record, and it's deplorable that the members opposite won't support a budget that has $13 billion for affordable housing, that the parliamentary budget officer states will build 86,000 affordable homes. You won't vote for that, you won't support affordable housing, and that matches your historical record.
Again, through the chair, please. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it was 200,000 homes, and the average cost of buying one was $450,000, Mr. Speaker. The average rent for a one-bedroom was $900. This government came along and built bureaucracy to block homes and printed money to inflate their costs. They allowed mass immigration that was out of control, that ballooned demand, and left us with the worst and most expensive housing anywhere in the G7. And today, the parliamentary budget officer blew the lid off their latest promises, showing that they will build about almost none of the homes that they actually promised in the last election. Why won't the Prime Minister stand in the House and take account for that?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the lid's been blown off, but the lid's been blown off the tired lines of the Leader of the Opposition, which he's been using for 2 years. He has systematically stood in the way of investments in supportive, in social, in low-cost and low-income housing in this country throughout his exclusive 20-year career in this House of Commons. He has systematically stood in the way of supports like dental care, like child care, like the Canadian Child Benefit, like school nutrition, the very things that he fakes and pretends to care about in this House, but would vote against, and Canadians know he would vote against everything with care in the name, Mr. Speaker. He needs to...
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is impossible for us to vote against affordable housing because there is no affordable housing after 10 years of this Liberal government. Now, one positive idea we could all agree on is to reduce the cost of the steel, the concrete, the cement, the glass that goes into building homes. But unfortunately, this Liberal government has an industrial carbon tax whose stated purpose is to raise the cost of all of those things. Why won't they accept this positive idea to take taxes off home building so that our youth can finally have homes, jobs, and hope like they deserve?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Speaker, yesterday it was distressing to see member of parliament after member of parliament from the Conservative side vote against and argue against relieving consumers of the price of carbon, which we have, as you know, in this bill in front of the House promised to do, which they voted against. Mr. Speaker, they will vote against a tax cut for 22 million Canadians. Mr. Speaker, something again that Conservatives like to talk about, lower taxes, but in actuality fight against. So who are they really fighting for, Mr. Speaker? Because it sure isn't the Canadians or the Conservatives I'm talking to in Thunder Bay Superior North.
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the industrial carbon tax is not just a tax on homes, it's a tax on food. When you tax the steel that goes into farm equipment and the fertilizer that is necessary to grow food, when you tax the food processor, you tax the food. No wonder that since this Prime Minister took office, food prices have increased roughly 40% faster in Canada than they have in the United States. Canadians deserve affordable, nutritious, delicious food on their plate. Will the Prime Minister stand up now and agree to get rid of the industrial carbon tax so that Canadians can afford to eat?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Here we go again, Mr. Speaker. Here we go again with the imaginary taxes. And as my colleague just said, when presented presented with the opportunity to vote for a tax cut for every single income taxpayer in this country, they say no. When they get a chance to vote to cut the GST, to remove it on the GST for first-time homebuyers, they say no. When they get the chance to vote for the removal of the consumer carbon tax, what do the Conservatives say? No, Mr. Speaker. When the time comes to vote to give Canadians a break, what do the Conservatives say?
L'honorable député.
The honourable member for La Pointe de l'Île. Mr. Speaker, the new Minister of Official Languages, the honourable member for La Pointe de l'Île. Mr. Speaker, the new Minister for Official Languages is already fed up with his mandate. Now, he's saying when people say that French is in decline, well, he doesn't seem to care, even though Montreal is becoming more English-speaking. For him, the defense of French is a boring subject which only xenophobic Quebecers complain about. Why did the Prime Minister appoint such a person as Minister responsible for official languages? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, I went to grade school and high school and CEGEP, all in French. I did my degree, my BA in French, and I have raised my children in 3 languages, including French. I adore the French language, and I will defend that beautiful language till the end of my days. The honourable member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, the minister really should be fed up with the fact that Quebec is just twiddling its thumbs when it comes to defending French. He should be fed up with the fact that fewer Quebecers can listen to music in French, fewer Quebecers can read in French, can see shows in French, because our language is threatened. Now, is the minister fed up for the right reasons? The honourable minister. Mr. Speaker, what I deplore is politicizing this beautiful language. I know that the Bloc cares about French, but what I'm asking is that they join with us, all members who care about French, and that they support our strategy. For the first time in our history is putting over $1 billion into defending French, and I will do so to the end of my days.
The honourable member for Parry Sound Muskoka.
CTV reports that 35,000 households have left the GTA last year because the cost of housing is simply too expensive. The Missing Middle Initiative reported yesterday that Ontario's housing engine has stalled. In the GTA, pre-construction sales for condos are down 89%, and for ground-oriented homes, they're down 65%. That means starts have fallen off a cliff, and it means it's going to be worse in 2026. So my question, Mr. Speaker, is when the Prime Minister told young Canadians that they would have to sacrifice, was he really referring to the dream of home ownership?
The Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, we obviously face challenges in Ontario and the GTA in particular around housing starts, and that's exactly why we've got Build Canada Homes launched. That's exactly why we're investing in affordable housing at an unprecedented scale. That's exactly why we brought forward the first-time home buyers GST tax cut, which the members opposite have stalled since June. Mr. Speaker, we need to take action. We are taking action on this House. The Conservatives are voting against action on affordable housing.
Honourable member for Parry Sound Muskoka.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's 4th housing bureaucracy, Build Canada Homes, replaces Justin Trudeau's life-changing national housing strategy with less money and even bigger promises. We need 480,000 homes per year in the next 10 years to restore affordability, but the Parliamentary Budget Officer reports Build Canada Homes will only build about 26,000 over the next 5. So why won't the Prime Minister listen to home builders, housing experts, the Leader of the Opposition, and axe the tax on all homes under $1.3 million?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, well, we've had a lot of engagement with the house building, the home building industry, with mayors, with ministers. We've done an enormous amount of effort. Members opposite can go out and talk to people in the community, home builders that we're working with, who are supporting Build Canada Homes. We've just launched and opened the portal for that. The Parliamentary Budget Officers, 87,000 homes will be built as part of this initial effort. And the National Housing Strategy starts again in these years ensuing. It's a combination that will deliver affordable housing at an unprecedented scale. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Terra Nova, the Peninsulas.
This Liberal government promised billions in housing spending, but today the Parliamentary Budget Office exposed that this program is exactly like the last 4, an absolute failure. This is just another example of these Liberals promising the same old things and never delivering. Their new housing program is only supposed to get 26,000 homes built in 5 years, only a fraction of the 2.5 million promised. How will this Prime Minister tell this horrible news to young people? Will he simply ask them to make more sacrifices?
The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Oceans.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's very important for me to point out that my colleague in the opposition from Newfoundland and Labrador has voted against every opportunity to help Canadians. Housing, food, school program, $10 a day childcare, dental care, on and on and on. This is nothing but a circle of tired notes. We need to work together. Canadians want us to work together, and I'll tell my colleague, Newfoundlanders and Labradorians want to see results.
The Honourable Member for Richmond Hill South.
You should be able to work hard, save your money, and buy a reasonably priced home in a reasonable timeline. That was the Canadian promise. But today, the Parliamentary Budget Watchdog confirmed this Liberal Prime Minister has broken that promise. The report says the Liberals' brand new housing bureaucracy is nothing more than a shiny billion-dollar photo op machine, building only 26,000 homes in 5 years. That's barely 2% of the 1.25 million homes promised. And worse, the report says this Liberal government has no plan whatsoever to achieve their own target. So instead of lecturing young Canadians about sacrifice, why don't this Liberal Prime Minister just admit that he bulldozed the dream of home ownership, buried it under bureaucracy, and walked away with a shovel?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
I was speaking very fast, so I couldn't keep up with the question, but I do want to say one thing. Canadians elected us to do big things, Mr. Speaker, and we are going to build a stronger economy, a stronger country. We're making the largest infrastructure investment in Canadian history. That party voted against it. We are going to be building roads and bridges, community centres, hospitals and transit, Mr. Speaker, using Canadian steel and Canadian lumber. But the Conservatives voted against all of that, Mr. Speaker, every single part of it, against housing and against major projects, opportunities for Canadian workers, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we'll keep building. We're going to be standing with our workers, unlike the Conservatives.
The Honourable Member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Mr. Speaker, this morning, housing networks in Quebec told me that they are very concerned. There is a great deal of demand for affordable housing, but instead we're getting more bureaucracy. The Parliamentary Budget Officer has also confirmed that the Liberal promise of 250,000 homes will only lead to 26,000. That's 10 times less. In my riding, the average price of housing has gone from $205,000 to $400,000 under this Liberal government. The Prime Minister said young people would have to make sacrifices. Perhaps he's asking them to sacrifice their dream of owning a home. Is that it? The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation. It's remarkable to hear a Conservative member talk about affordable housing. In all my years in politics, I've never heard a single housing organization praise the Conservative Party. On the contrary, they've always voted against investing in social and affordable housing. And that's when they're not actually criticizing the entire concept. On this side of the House, we've invested $13 billion to build affordable housing like never before. Thank you.
Member for Burnaby Central.
Mr. Speaker, victim groups, police chiefs, and police associations, provinces, territories, municipalities have all called for a quick passage of Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act. And as the hate crimes continue to rise, communities across Canada are urging us to move forward on Bill C-9, the Combating Hate Act. Yet, instead of helping advance this important work, Conservatives have been filibustering the Justice Committee, blocking witnesses and delaying progress. Can the Minister update this House on the impact of these Conservative delays and what needs to happen so we can get this done for our Canadians?
Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, do you know who's paying the price for these Conservative games? It is Canadians.
That's right.
While victims groups and frontline police officers are asking for us to act urgently and respond to the crisis and the need of the time, the Conservatives are spending their time filibustering with nonsense speeches about cats and dogs, Mr. Speaker. That's right, you heard it right, cats and dogs. These are procedural stunts that they're playing in order to stop these bills from passing through committee, Mr. Speaker. They're obstructing the committee from doing its job. When it comes to public safety, Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives have a lot of bark, but no bite. Yeah. They are saying
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Speaker, yesterday Algoma Steel laid off 1,000 workers, and those workers remember when the Liberal Prime Minister stood on their shop floor in Sault Ste. Marie just days before the last election and promised to protect their jobs. But today, those same workers face U.S. tariffs, no deal, and now no job. And to add insult to injury, this Liberal government just gave Algoma Steel $400 million with no jobs guarantees, apparently, because now there's 1,000 Canadian workers out of a job before Christmas. So when will the steel workers get the promised protection for their jobs from this Liberal government?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Of course, our thoughts are with the workers at Algoma Steel. I've been in contact with the company. I've been also in contact with the union. And obviously, we know that the entire business sector of the entire business model of the steel sector in Canada is based on U.S. automakers. And obviously, with unjustified and unjustifiable tariffs of 50% by the U.S. administration against our steel sectors, this can't happen. So we've been working with the company, offering $400 million to get through these difficult times as they're pivoting with new products and new markets, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals promised to protect Canadian jobs, and yet the reality is thousands of Canadian families are now going without their primary source of income because the Liberals haven't delivered on their promises. Softwood lumber mills are closing, auto companies are cancelling projects in Canada and moving them to the United States, and in Sault Ste. Marie, now 1,000 people have just lost their jobs at the steel mill. So workers don't need more Liberal platitudes or corporate handouts or broken promises. They need their jobs back. They need results. So when are Canadians going to get the trade deal we were promised?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, newsflash, we're in a trade war. And so therefore, because of what is happening right now, we're fighting for the jobs at Algoma Steel and across the steel sector in the country. And that is why we've been there for the...
Okay. The minister may continue.
Mr. Speaker, is it from the top? From the top or not? Okay, so Mr. Speaker, my point is that we'll continue to fight for these jobs, and the company was clear today. If it wasn't for the $400 million and the $100 million by Ontario, the very existence of Algoma Steel would have been in jeopardy, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Edmonton, Griesbach.
Mr. Speaker, my condolences to the 1,000 workers laid off from Algoma Steel in my hometown of Sault Ste. Marie. My dad, Tony, worked at Algoma for over 30 years. The Prime Minister is squarely to blame for these layoffs. In the election, our elbows up PM said he was the guy who could get a good trade deal from Donald Trump. Instead of a deal, this PM said, who cares? And we saw higher tariffs on Canadian goods. The results? These layoffs and others. When will this Prime Minister finally get a deal with Trump?
Mr. Speaker, I have a lot of respect for my colleague and a lot of respect for his dad and all those who've worked or working at Algoma Steel. And that's why our priority and my priority is to make sure that they can continue to earn a great salary at Algoma Steel as the company is adapting to new type of steel for the defense sector and also for the housing sector. And I must say that our Buy Canada policy is also helping Algoma and other steel plants as we'll continue to fight for these jobs across the country.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse-les-Échemins-Lévis. Mr. Speaker, it takes remarkable talent to somehow spend $15 billion and manage to create more unemployment. Food banks are struggling to keep up, but the Prime Minister prefers to hand out checks to multinationals, $15 billion to Stellantis, $400 million to Algoma. And what's the result? Job losses. Can the Prime Minister explain his genius strategy, which involves paying big businesses for them to lay off Canadians? Could you explain that, please? The Honourable Secretary of State for Children and Youth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we are protecting the essential programs that Canadians depend on. We are protecting the Canada Child Benefit. We are protecting dental care. We are here to protect and to help families. And on the other side of the House, they are voting against all of those things. The Honourable Member for Bellechasse-les-Échemins-Lévis. I think the member didn't understand my question. Let me repeat. Canadians are struggling to put food on the table because of the cost of living, and yet the government keeps taking money out of their pockets and putting it in the pockets of big business. This Prime Minister managed to find $72 million for Nokia, $400 for Algoma, and $15 billion for Stellantis. And what is the government getting in exchange? Job losses. Is this the new Liberal strategy, making Canadians poorer to make big business richer? Is that it, Mr. Speaker? The Honourable Minister for Government Transformation. On this side of the House, we believe it's essential to support the sectors impacted by the tariff war with the U.S. But my colleague voted against a tax cut that would represent $800 per family in Canada and Quebec. She voted against the National School Food Program that would save $800 per vulnerable family. She voted against the Canada Dental Care Plan, which would help at least 10,000 people in her own riding of Bellechasse. She voted against things like investments in the Davie shipyard, which is struggling to find the skilled workers it needs. I hope she will change her mind and vote in favour of these government programs.
Windsor West.
Mr. Speaker, the Feed Ontario Hunger Report shows over 1 million Ontarians went to food banks 8.7 million times over the last year. That's the highest ever. While Canadians are struggling, this Liberal Prime Minister has handed over billions to big corporations with zero job guarantees. $400 million to Algoma, 1,000 jobs lost. $15 billion to Stellantis, 3,000 jobs gone. Why does this Prime Minister always make taxpayers pay for his sweetheart corporate deals while Canadians go hungry?
Secretary of State for Sport.
Mr. Speaker, those food security experts and poverty elimination companies, they do a great job advocating directly to government, and what they are saying is we need more affordable housing. In the last 2 weeks alone, Mr. Speaker, we've announced 857 new co-op housing. And that's really close to home for me, Mr. Speaker, because I'm proud to grow up in co-op housing. Unlike some of the Conservatives who like to call it Soviet-style housing or degrade affordable housing as shacks or something like that, Mr. Speaker, we're creating more jobs. We're creating opportunity for Canadians. And every single time we bring a motion forward in this House to provide that care to Canadians, whether it's through child care or dental care or affordable food in schools, Mr. Speaker, they vote against it.
The Honourable Member for Middlesex London.
Speaker, food banks are seeing record demand while this Prime Minister keeps shoveling taxpayer dollars at multinationals with zero job guarantees. At CAMI, pink slips are hitting kitchen tables and it's just weeks before Christmas. Families across Middlesex London are losing their paychecks and they can't afford to buy groceries. The minister said that she'd get an update from GM, but it's been 40 days and she's got nothing. No plan, no transparency, no jobs. So why does this Prime Minister keep making Canadians pay the price for his financial incompetence?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives voted against Budget 2025. They voted against help for Canadians. They voted against the Guaranteed Income Supplement, rather. They voted against the New Horizons program for seniors. They voted against the tax credit for personal care workers. And they voted against dental care for millions of Canadian seniors.
The honourable member for Edmonton Northwest.
It's been 8 months since the Prime Minister was elected, claiming he would build nation-building projects at speeds not seen in generations. Now we've learned that he hasn't even started consultations. He could have started these within weeks of the last election, given the existential crisis that he claimed. The Prime Minister's incoming Heritage Minister said consultation should have begun yesterday, taking a shot at the Prime Minister, and that you can't do consultations on a desktop, taking another shot at the Natural Resources Minister, who said it could be done by Zoom. Has the Prime Minister avoided consultation with First Nations because he doesn't care about them, or because he doesn't want a pipeline built?
The Honourable Minister for Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our relationship with our partners, First Nations, Métis, Indigenous rights holders, is of utmost importance. With major projects, consultation and the duty to accommodate will be adhered to. There is no major projects before us right now. This is just an MOU. It is the process that is outlining the conditions to be met. Major projects will require the duty to consult. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Langley Township, Fraser Heights.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Liberal Keep It in the Ground caucus is saying that the MOU with Alberta is not a pipeline approval. There is no project, no route, certainly no consensus, and no private sector proponent. Now, they're conveniently hiding behind the tanker ban, which is preventing us from getting our resources to market, all the while American tankers are happily sailing right by from Alaska down to the lower 48. So, simple question, will the Prime Minister lift the tanker ban so that we can build a pipeline, or is this just a pipe dream?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, we are in a trade war. It's time to recognize that. Our agreement with Alberta is about a Team Canada plan to strengthen our hand and put Canada in a position to win that trade war. We're going to do it by growing exports beyond a single customer and driving down emissions with strong industrial carbon pricing and a commitment to major decarbonization projects in partnership with jurisdictions and in partnership with First Nations.
Honourable member for Fleetwood Port Kells.
Mr. Speaker, this past weekend, important discussions were held in Surrey, British Columbia on strengthening our law enforcement and intelligence agencies to combat extortion. Protecting Canadians has never been more critical. Yet, the Conservatives play political games and stall measures like Bill C-2, preventing law enforcement from getting the key tools they need to protect Canadians. Can the Minister of Public Safety please outline the steps
the Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me thank the member from Fleetwood Port Kells for the very important question and his hard work. Mr. Speaker, we're taking real action to fight extortion. Last week we had a summit in Surrey, British Columbia that brought together the government of British Columbia. We brought together law enforcement, the extortion task force, as well as municipal leaders in order to ensure that we're all on the same page and we're fighting this fight together, Mr. Speaker. But unfortunately, the Conservatives continue to play games, Mr. Speaker. They're opposing critical bills that will strengthen law enforcement. So I urge the Conservative Party to come on board and support.
The honourable member for Saskatoon West.
Mr. Speaker, when the new Minister of Culture was Immigration Minister, he said, quote, "I don't see a world in which we lower immigration targets. Whether we revise them upwards or not is something that I have to look at, but certainly I don't think we will lower them," end quote. Then in 2024, he made history by allowing nearly 500,000 permanent residents into the country, the highest ever in a single year. Today, we're in a national housing crisis, emergency rooms are overflowing, and we're in a youth jobs crisis. Mr. Speaker, how does the current immigration minister feel about holding the bag for a Trudeau-era guy who just got promoted for making a big mess?
The Honourable Minister of Immigration. The Honourable Minister of Immigration. Okay, whoa, we're going to have we're going to have to let some time go by here because everyone's getting very excited every time the Secretary of State gets up. The Secretary of State for Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm practicing my French.
The Saskatchewan Conservative Caucus. There was 14 of them elected over a period of 10 years. That's 140 collective years that we've had conservative representation from Saskatchewan, Mr. Speaker. And you tell me, what have they accomplished in those 10 years, Mr. Speaker? On housing, on trade, on infrastructure. They have accomplished nothing, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
It's quite the indictment when they don't even let the immigration minister answer a question about immigration. In a CBC interview back when he was the immigration minister.
From the top. I give the floor to the member for Calgary Nose Hill. The member for Calgary Nose Hill.
In a CBC interview back when he was immigration minister, the new Minister of Culture dismissed Premier's pleas for support for a flood of Liberal-enabled fraudulent asylum claims by saying, I think what they, the Premiers, are advancing is a complete crock of bleep. In reality, he oversaw billions of dollars going to house bogus asylum claimants while emergency room overflowed. So my question is this: if that failed immigration minister can get a promotion, does this mean that the current Prime Minister will promote the current one too?
The Honourable Minister for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Speaker, thank you very much. Let me thank this colleague and this member for placing her confidence in me and in this government. Let me tell you one thing. Canadians elected this government with a big mandate. We have brought in a generational budget that includes a sustainable immigration plan, one that will deal with permanent immigration as well as the temporary immigration and bring our global talent. Why does that member and her party keep obstructing every single time? Get on board!
Minister Lincoln again through the chair. The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
I'm sorry, it's so bad. Okay, in all seriousness, in 2022, a Jamaican national was convicted in the United States of an aggravated felony of sexual abuse of a minor. But in 2023, the Liberals welcomed him to Canada. Worse, they allowed him to claim asylum, and today, that child sexual abuser is still in Canada. The Liberals voted against Conservative measures to prevent non-citizen child sexual abusers from entering Canada, abusing our immigration system, and avoiding deportation. Why are they protecting non-citizen child sexual abusers? Why didn't they support our policies?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, Canada has a robust system of inadmissibility that ensures that those who are not eligible to be in here will be removed, Mr. Speaker. This year we are on target to remove over 20,000 people who are ineligible to be here, including those with criminal offenses. But let me be very clear, Mr. Speaker. The party opposite, the sanctimony that they put forward on issues of public safety needs to be checked when they oppose the very tools that public safety officers need to do their job effectively, Mr. Speaker.
That's the honourable member for Labrador.
Mr. Speaker, it's been 19 years since the First Nations Fiscal Management Act came into force, thanks to the leadership and determination of First Nations across Canada. Since then, the Act has evolved into a highly successful and robust system that supports First Nations with fiscal management, local taxation, and access to pooled borrowing. Can the Minister update this House on the important work underway to advance Indigenous economic prosperity? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister for Crown Indigenous Relations.
Budget 2025 proposes important updates to the First Nations Fiscal Management Act that will enable the First Nations Finance Authority to lend to special purpose vehicles. For Indigenous communities, this makes it easier for multiple nations to work together, borrow as a group, and lower administrative costs. They also provide access to better borrowing rates and more opportunities to take equity in major projects and infrastructure. With improved access to financing, communities can create good jobs, grow local businesses, and build lasting prosperity for future generations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Portneuf-Jacques-Cartier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's incredible that this member has become the new Minister of Official Languages. That member said again this morning that he's tired of doing something about the decline of French. But I have news. The new Conservative Party of Canada will be fighting for the rights of Francophones throughout the country. Even the Premier of Quebec said that it was a crying shame that that person has become Minister of Official Languages. Is the new Quebec lieutenant just as tired of fighting the decline of French, like his colleague at Heritage said? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture. Mr. Speaker, indeed, French is declining throughout Canada. And what I am unhappy about is the hypocrisy of these Conservatives, who voted against our plan for French with $4.1 billion to be spent throughout Canada to make French stronger in our country. When I was Minister of Immigration, I doubled Francophone immigration outside Quebec. The Conservatives voted against that, and they voted against the $4.1 billion plan. What is truly a shame is their hypocrisy.
Member for Nunavut.
Living downstream from the oil sands, the Mikisew First Nations have higher rates of cancer. Yet this government is developing regulations to allow affected water to be released into the Athabasca River. UNDRIP and their Environmental Racism Act must be implemented to protect the health of First Nations. How can the Liberals proceed with regulations knowing that Mikisew First Nations have not given consent because they are dying from cancer?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pollution from the oil sands tailings ponds is a serious issue, and we acknowledge and take seriously the concerns raised by nearby Indigenous communities in the region. We are currently supporting a study of health impacts on nearby communities, and there is a Crown Indigenous working group that is working on water release standards. We're committed to protecting Canada's environment and the health of communities, and of course the Indigenous communities nearby.
The Honourable Member for Kootenay-Alberni.
Mr. Speaker, our healthcare system is already stretched, yet the federal government piles on needless work. The College of Family Physicians warns that the disability tax credit form is worsening the strain and costing patients access to care. Instead of fixing it, Budget 2025 allocates $10 million to help people navigate the same broken system. Provinces already determine disability eligibility. Why won't the minister automatically accept provincial approval for the disability tax credit to reduce barriers and let family doctors focus on patient care?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Speaker, it's historic. For the first time in this country, we have a disability tax benefit, and I want to thank all parliamentarians that supported this. Unfortunately, again, the Conservatives voted against the very people they say they wish to help. But, Mr. Speaker, Budget 2025 actually goes a step further, and it compensates people for the burden, financial burden of filing, getting doctors' forms to file for their credit. And, Mr. Speaker, we will continue to work with people who are living with disabilities to make sure that they have every opportunity to thrive in Canadian society.
And that concludes question period today. It is my pleasure to lay before the House, in both official languages, the fourth edition of House of Commons Procedure and Practice, La procédure et les usagers de la Chambre des Communes. As many honourable members know, the first three editions were respectively published in 2000, 2009, and 2017. Each of these editions quickly became an essential reference not only for those who work on Parliament Hill, but also those off the Hill who have an interest in the House of Commons. I'm confident that this fourth edition will in turn soon establish itself as the most authoritative source of procedural guidance for our parliamentary proceedings.
Somebody send that to Khalid.
This new edition, edited by the Clerk of the House, Eric Jantz, and the Deputy Clerk Procedure, Jeffrey LeBlanc, reflects the most current practices and procedures, spanning more than 1,300 pages and containing over 5,500 footnotes. It reflects the depth and complexity of the House's procedural framework. Members will be interested to know that the 4th edition reflects our rules and practices as recent as the spring of 2025.
For the ease and convenience of all, the 4th edition is also available in an accessible electronic format on the House of Commons website. I would like to express my gratitude to the many dedicated individuals from across the administration who played a role in the drafting, editing, design, and publication of this book. The entire production process was a remarkable team effort, reflecting the outstanding professionalism and expertise of House employees. I encourage all members not only to refer to this publication, but to make it a vital resource in strengthening their understanding of the procedural knowledge essential to their parliamentary duties. While it may not qualify as light reading, I am confident that you will find it both highly informative and immensely valuable. I invite all members to join me in the Speaker's Salon for a reception to mark this very special occasion.
Here. Okay.
Neighbor is so happy.
I'll get you one for Christmas. Yes. The rappel au règlement.
A point of order.
It's possible to get a signed copy.
Oh, I'm sure it would be. I'm sure the clerks at the reception. You have to go.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to call it here. There's nothing really too much on for the afternoon for committees. I don't really think we're missing anything. There are a few committees, but I've checked to see what's going on. It's nothing really that crazy. Same with tomorrow. Tomorrow, there's not really much going on, so we're just going to cover question period tomorrow. And it being Wednesday, that's, there wouldn't be anything on until after that anyway. So Thursday's a big day, though. Thursday, we're going to be live 4 times. We're going to start at 8:15 in the morning with the National Defense Committee. We've got David McGuinty for an hour. We're going to go live again after that at 11 o'clock with the Security Committee. We're going to be live for question period. And then we're going to be live after question period on Thursday as Gregor Robinson and Melanie Jolie are in committees. So we'll be live for 7 hours or 8 hours on Thursday. So Thursday's a huge day for committees and for question period. And obviously that'll be the last day we go live for this week. Obviously we don't go live on Fridays, and then next week is the last week that the House sits. After that, they don't come back until late January. So there'll be a long break for us. I'll obviously still keep getting clips out on the channel as things come up, press conferences, etc. But for live streams, we'll have a large break there like we typically do over the Christmas break. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. For question period. I'm assuming Carney's going to be there, but we don't know for sure yet as he hasn't released his itinerary. Before we go, thank you so much, people. Thank you so much, Woody, for the super chat. Raven for the super chat. 1JP for the super chat. People again with another super chat. And A True Canadian. Thank you so much for gifting more memberships. I really appreciate you guys. Obviously, just watching and all that is great, but when you feel the need to support the channel even more, it's very much appreciated. So I will head off here. I will see you guys tomorrow, 2 p.m. And cheers, guys. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.